Well, in just over 2 weeks, it will be election night. Today, Sedgwick County residents were already casting their ballots as early in-person voting kicked off. KAKE's Jackson Overstreet is live for us outside the historic courthouse where that voting was taking place. So, Jackson, how did the first day go?
David, you know, that rain that you and Jay and Cameron were talking about, it did not keep people away from the polls. We saw about 500 people come in here and vote at the courthouse this morning for that first day of early in-person voting. And that is just even a little bit ahead of what we saw on this day back on the primary, that first day of in-person voting, at least according to the election commissioner. Now, she and other members of the election office here are urging people to take advantage of early voting so they can spread out the voter turnout over the next couple weeks so you don't have those lines that we saw back on election night on the primary. It's just about lunchtime and the hallway outside the Sedgwick County election office is filling up with eager voters.
Well, I work across the street, so it's really easy for me to come over and do it, and usually it's not this busy when I get here.
Monday was the first day of early in-person voting in Sedgwick County for the fall general election. Voters returning to the polls for the first time less than 3 months after the historic primary election back in August.
Every vote is important.
That August election featured a record primary turnout of 45% in Sedgwick County. And the election commissioner says she expects even higher interest this fall.
Midterm general election, we see between 52 and 55%. So we would imagine that those percentages will hold.
After a few polling locations had hours-long wait time on primary night, to help fix that, the election office already has 80 more poll workers lined up for Election Day on November 8th. But officials are urging residents to vote early if they can to help make the process smoother.
If people are out and about during those times and see a vote here sign, we encourage them to think about stopping and voting.
As for voters who came out Monday, they just encourage anyone watching to get out and take part.
Most people pay more attention to the national stage. Local elections are far more important than the national.
I know a lot of people say, well, you know, my vote won't count, but you know, if 100 people say that, that could make the difference in a local election.
Now, early voting will take place here at the courthouse from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. this week, next week, on Monday through Friday, as well as 8 a.m. to noon 2 weeks from now, the Monday before the election. As far as those satellite sites that are really popular, those pick up next week. You can find the information about which ones are closest to you and those times and everything else you really need to know about early voting, at least here in Sedgwick County, on our website, KAKE.com. Live in downtown Wichita, Jackson Overstreet, KAKE News on your side.